Don't do this. Turnbull, please.
Daddy!
Don't do this, no! This mark will remind you of the man who took everything you had. After that night, some say he was a changed man. That his spirit crossed over, giving him powers that can't be explained.
Jonah Hex.
Coffins.
Thinking you might need a...
Cut him down! Jonah Hex.
You don't look so tough.
Hey, Hex, what happened to your face?
Cut myself shaving. What happened to yours?
Always do like when you finally show up.
Jeez, woman, how many men you see in a day?
Quentin Turnbull is...
Don't you dare say that name to me.
Quentin Turnbull surfaced about a month ago.
We want Turnbull dead.
Why don't you just say that to begin with? Anything new, Smith?
Thought you'd never ask. I take it that means you approve. This is the future.
Future's bright.
Strikes me about this movie is everybody's in this. This movie's got a great cast.
Yes.
Better now than it was at the time, but it was still good at the time, including, John Malkovich, who, by the way, there's a funny story. Maybe you've heard it. Bill Hader of Saturday Night Live claims, and I know he's not lying, but I can't substantiate it. He claims he was a production assistant on Collateral Damage. Well, I worked on Collateral Damage for the production company Bel Air, and I can't recall him. And I'm sure it's true.
Bill Hader was a PA?
Yeah, Bill Hader must have been with the Mexico unit on that or something. But he's
Collateral
not
Damage
lying.
was 2001. I mean, it was around 9/11.
Yeah, it was 2000.
Yeah.
Because
we withheld
I remember we stole the release
because of the whole idea. It was the World Trade Center, and it was LA's World Trade Center. And so that was the thing, and it was deemed to be too insensitive. So we held back on releasing that so that we wouldn't offend the whole world.
Right.
It,
well, I'm the one that was arguing just to release the movie, right? Just because my argument was the American audience wants payback, even if it's on the screen. They want some sort of proactive action taken. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Bill Hader is not lying when he tells that story, and he's super talented, and I love him. He's the funniest thing out of Saturday Night Live in 2 decades, in my opinion. But it is funny. I'm like, I can't remember him on the movie, and maybe that's a good thing. But where I was going with that is, have you ever seen him do his John Malkovich impression to John Malkovich? And Malkovich goes, I don't sound like that. And he's like, you sound exactly like that. It's really well done. Super funny stuff.
I will look for that. Yeah.
But Malkovich is the villain in this. That's where that was. Yeah. I'm sorry to derail us. Continue.
John Malkovich, I always squirmed in my seat whenever I would see John Malkovich in any movie. And it just had that effect on me where I would be unsettled, but I got to tell you, that turned around on Jonah Hex, because he was such a cool guy. He was so gracious and just so chill and so cool and funny. And, we're talking about Jerry Lewis, not in that way, but John Malkovich has this way about it. I mean, in the same way that Alan Rickman did, where, I mean, the guy was just funny, he had great takes on things and all that.
And they both played the same roles in Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they did.
Yeah.
So it was.
They have those qualities.
So Jonah Hex is what turned me around on John Malkovich. I can watch him now. It was just and I don't know what.
Do you think? See, I have a theory. I think he knows he does that. I think he knows he's kind of like the modern day equivalent of I'm thinking of that actor from the 70s that loved to
perhaps it's a veneer for him that that he needs to do this to sort of protect himself and keep people at bay. I spent this whole weekend with a director from England, and we talked a lot about Tommy Lee Jones, and
Oh,
Tommy Lee Jones is such a jerk. I mean,
yeah.
in so many ways, and I think perhaps
Terrible.
that's perhaps his veneer, something that he does to keep people unsettled. Because the question did come to me, how did Andy Davis deal with him? Because Andy Davis did so many movies with him, with Warner Brothers and without Warner Brothers. He did a bunch of movies with Tommy Lee Jones, and you wonder how he handled him. I was never there on the set for Under Siege because they shot that in Alabama, so I never went to that set, and that's where all the Tommy stuff was done.
He was on Space Cowboys with Eastwood's group when I was there, and he would not come in and do ADR. There was something where Eastwood was so furious with him that they used a different voice for him for the Space Cowboys trailer. Do you remember? You know about that?
Well,
and I remember Joel Cox telling me that, going, "This."
I don't know that story specifically, but there are a lot of actors in town who won't do the radar, and there are voiceover people who specialize in certain voices and will do it. So, and I can tell you that if you're watching a Martin Lawrence movie, and if it's not a medium shot or a close up, it's not even him. You don't need, in the far shots, it's not even him. It's a body double. And he does not do voiceover. Now we got Eddie Murphy had the same reputation, but Eddie came in and did a good part of his ADR, like almost all of his ADR on Showtime, and the one that he did that takes place in outer space.
Pluto Nash.
Pluto Nash, yeah. So we had heard that he didn't do it, but
remember.
he did, but he didn't do all of it. And the thing is, on some level, it's not even on some level. I'm not going to apologize for these people. They overproduce the sound. I mean, the ADR editors would want you to replace every line of dialogue there is, but the fact is that the mixers in the final dub, they can filter out the bad stuff. They can't filter out bad performances, but they can filter out the little glitches and stuff that might degrade the audio a little bit. And I think that the ADR editors and sound supervisors in general overproduce the post-production. Absolutely. And we could save a lot of money if we didn't have that horse shit.
That's true to a degree, and you're right. But I think in the case of what we're talking about with Tommy Lee Jones, I think there's a lot more to that personality that makes him challenging than not showing up for his ADR.
Well, I don't think Clint would ask for ADR of stuff that wasn't actually required.
Exactly.
And Alan Murray, who was his sound supervisor, sadly, the late Alan Murray, he wasn't one of those guys that absolutely overproduced everything. And I always used to tell all those guys, including Alan, I would say, be smart about your choices. Don't overdo everything, But to defend them, they need to show up on mixing stage with all kinds of different choices for directors. If they go, I don't like the sound of that, they have something else, especially like in sound effects and stuff like that. I think less of a problem now because all these sound guys have websites and they can just dial in from the mixing stage and get it.
Yeah. I have no idea what led us from Jonah Hex. Oh, John Malkovich.
Yeah, John Malkovich and Tommy Lee Jones. It's, so.
The less we talk about Tommy Lee Jones, probably the better. Actually, I can give you all kinds of stories.
We did. It seemed like we had him in every movie. There were a couple of years where he was in absolutely everything. And you get sick of spending your afternoons with these people when you're doing dailies. When I'm sitting in dailies, like when we did Analyze This and Analyze That and The Departed, it was like I was so tired of gangsters, and I felt like I was spending my afternoon with these scumbags. I recognized they were actors playing a part, but that was one of the issues.
Not all of them. Not all of them, but I know.
Oh, I know. And,
let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's not.